One of the great advantages of Christmas this year is that the unofficial federal election campaign will come to an end at the end of the week. Yeehaw! Of course, we'll then have part 2 in the new year and then the actual campaign itself, which is part 3, from about the beginning of April. Aren't we lucky? But one of the great advantages of all this campaigning is that no party, no leader can hide who they really are and what they really believe in. And in the case of the Greens, their ridiculous preferred parallel world is revealing itself for all to judge, nice and early. In the last 2 days, haven't we had a taste of their lunacy? First up, the Herald Sun reported that the Greens in Victoria are aiming to have horse racing banned across Australia. This was a new policy added to the party's platform last month. And it makes sense because the Greens have long called for a royal commission into horse racing and have supported all kinds of protests associated with the Victorian Spring Racing Carnival. Under this plan, Australia's magnificent race courses will be turned into open, green spaces. That's what they are now. And for those of you who know where so many of our provincial race courses are, what total nonsense. Green space in the middle of whoop whoop. You dopes. As for the horses, they'll be rehabilitated and rehomed. Good luck with that one. And they'll pay for all this with a new tax on gambling. Of course they will, which they estimate will raise almost $500 million. This is just blind, stupid madness. The racing industry generates almost $8 billion a year for the national economy, $8 billion, providing work to more than 160,000 people. And this is the party likely to give Labor the votes it needs to form a minority government, mind you. This is the kind of stupidity likely to be part of any deal between Labor and the Greens. And then came Adam Bandt's clanger over the weekend in reference to Victorian Year 12 students receiving their ATAR results. He hit Twitter with this garbage. To everyone who's just wrapping up Year 12, today, it doesn't matter what your ATAR is or what your next plans are. Whether you want to be a lawyer, artist, miner, or just smoke weed for a year or two, I'm proud of you. So an Australian political leader advocates that kids waste their first work or study productive years smoking dope for a couple of years. That's fine. We're proud of you. Bandt should be encouraging the class of 2021 to get out there and create the first of their many opportunities. But no, just kick back, smoke weed, and the taxpayer no doubt will prop you up. And may I mention that marijuana, we know it can be very, very addictive. It can have a negative impact on lives. It's a drug. Drugs can lead to addiction. And the people selling you weed on the street, you can be sure as hell they'll hook you up easily with any number of other, even more dangerous substances when weed isn't doing it for you anymore. Drugs are a slippery slope and people get addicted. Again, this is the kind of low-life leadership and putrid policy idealism that sits at the heart of the Greens. And it's through their support in the days after this next federal election that Labor will use to cobble together a minority government. They say they won't. What, will they hand over the government to the coalition, will they? They won't dare form government for 3 years with the Greens. Pig's bottom. And then he becomes a lucky dip as to which of their loony policies are adopted by Labor in the grand deal that's done to secure an alliance for power. That's exactly what happened between Julia Gillard and Bob Brown in September 2010. And you would be a fool to think it's not on the cards again. It doesn't matter which party you detest or which party you support. As an Australian, how the hell could you give that mob any say in how this country's run?